calling all misfits, rebels, leaders, and teachers, welcome to the one place where the only way to fit in is by standing out, where big goals are met with even bigger action, and where we talk through then tackle all things entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kelsey, and this is the Get Shit Done podcast. Welcome to the Rebelution. Just because you place something on your calendar doesn't mean it's going to happen. So my advice to you is to place it and then protect it. What the heck am I talking about? I'm talking part 2 about white space. We talked last week, if you missed it, all about white space, design time, just that deep work that we as business owners need to prioritize in order to revamp and improve projects or prioritize making something new. It's something that I think is so important. And if you didn't catch it yet, definitely pause this episode and go back and take a listen, because I think it'll really tee up the ball for today's conversation. But all that to say, just because something's on your calendar doesn't mean we always honor it. And that's why I think this tagline of place it and then protect it is so important. And it honestly may be where the ball is getting dropped in your productivity. Let me give you an example. When we have client meetings, I know this about you. You probably follow through and make sure they happen. Unless something crazy happens, you're super sick, something completely outside of your control happens, odds are if a client booked a call with you, if a client came in for or booked a hair service with you, if you're a product-based company and you're a wholesale client booked time with you, you're going to honor it. You're going to show up, you're going to do it. But how often do we do that in the other parts of our business? If I put a block on there to plan out 2025, how easily do other things creep up and take precedence over something like that? And I think time and time again, I hear that it's like, well, things come up. You know, we got to do what's right for the client. We got to make shit happen. And there's truth to that. There's times where like that is 100% true. Like I shared last week, I have a lot of travel coming up. And because of the travel, my schedule is definitely a little different than it normally looks. The days are a little bit more multifaceted, and some days may be a little bit longer to compensate for that time off. So I'm not telling you to not be flexible in that sense. But if you catch yourself saying like, oh, when we get to, if we have time, eventually, if any of those sound like you, then I'm going to call you out on this episode, because it means you're actually not creating a process to execute on those things, and it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So cut it out. And today I want to break down why that is and set you up for success, because odds are it's user error, it's you, and there's things we can do about it. It doesn't mean you need to block off 2 days a week like I currently am. That's a lot. And I'm doing it again because I still have systems to improve in my business. I have a new offer that we launched, and I am just in the deep, deep work of making things better for my business right now. That is the priority in my business. So I have to protect that time, create that time, fill that time to ensure those big projects see the light of day. Otherwise, they never will. So here's the deal. If you're not getting shit done, maybe last week you listened, or you're jumping in blind, but you're listening, you're here for the ride, and you're like, okay, white space, design time, big projects, yes, yes, yes. Here's my question. Did you put that time on the calendar? My second question, did you stick to that time on the calendar? Maybe for you, it was just a block of like 3 hours. Like, I'm going to put white space on my calendar for 3 hours. Did you honor that white space? Meaning, did you not fill it with following up on Instagram DMs, responding to emails, Voxering with clients, logging into Slack real quick? Like, did you do those small, tiny tasks, or did you actually honor that time and fill it with something big and important for your business? And then question number 3, did you have a process for it? Because I think that's what it really comes down to. If you put it on the calendar in the first place, that's like step 1, and half of us probably didn't even do that. Number 2, like, did you actually honor it? Did you say, hey, no, even though I have a to-do list and I do need to follow up with that client and I do need to have a conversation with that team member, I'm going to pause on that because I said white space is happening now and I'm going to honor it. And if you did those 2 things and it's still not getting done, then odds are you honored it, you open your computer and you just stare at it. Just like opening the fridge and hoping it tells you what to cook. Same thing, you're just staring at your computer and you're like, what do I do? What do I fill that with? And I think that's the 3 possibilities of why this white space feels like it's not working for you. But on the opposite side of it, it's also why those someday projects are never happening. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of having the same conversations with CEOs, of working on projects for a year and a half, 2 years, because we quote unquote are too busy. Code for it's not a priority. So just own that shit if that's the case. But if you want to make it a priority, then here's how you do that. Putting it on the calendar isn't enough. It's a great starting place. It's fantastic. Block off that time, white space, design time, CEO time, whatever you want to call it. That's a great first step. But then here is how you actually get to stick with it. You have to have a game plan for how you're going to use that time. And I'm going to walk you through step by step what we did recently with launching this new course. I want to share it because it's real world, it's relevant. We just went through this process. So for my business, my coaching business, I have been wanting to launch a group offer. That feels like a hell yes offer it's been on my heart, honestly, for a couple of years. I've tried different versions of it, and I finally was like, nope, I know exactly how I want to structure it. It's going to be a mix of a course, like a standalone course with videos and templates and check-ins, and then group calls. So that way we can hold each other accountable and keep moving, answer any specific questions people may have. Like I knew the format in my brain. Saying out loud, I want to launch a group coaching program that's tied to a course, and then executing it, there is a lot that happens between A and B. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how we took that big task and broke it down into this design time. And my intention is, as you're sitting here today, you're not only going to put those blocks on your calendar, but you're actually going to know what the hell to do with them. Because I think that is the missing link for a lot of people. So build a course. It's new. Where the heck do we start? This is verbally me sharing part of what's in there. So you're welcome. If you want to find out more, definitely keep following me on Instagram at Kelsey Marie Knudsen. I share all the latest and greatest, and who knows, maybe this will come out around a time when we're launching something, or maybe that's when you're listening. But for now, we're not launching, we're hanging out, we're getting shit done, we're being tactical, and I'm sharing how we made it happen. I've been putting design time on my calendar for months. And the reason being is I have an awesome operations person. I have a podcast team and a social media manager. And we got to a place where a lot of the things I wanted to do in business to make it better, to increase our different streams of revenue, all were dependent on me making decisions and executing on the creation of it. And it wasn't happening week after week after week. And I realized that was 100% on me because I was not treating it like a priority. So this group program that I had been thinking about for, like I said, years, it was just getting pushed down and pushed down eventually. So it was never happening. So I started with the first thing, which is putting it on the calendar, that design time. I called it design time. And I did a big block in the morning, lunch, and a big block in the afternoon. And that design time wasn't being honored, but it was there. It was a starting point. At least I wasn't having meetings during that time. But I'd fill it with other things, catch up things, and go fold laundry. Like I didn't really know what to do with it because I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a game plan. So when I recently went through and I actually planned out my quarter, I slotted in those big business projects per month. And that is when I decided, gosh, I'm going to launch this course, which means the month prior to it going live, I need to create the course. And that gave me a process to fill that design time because then I broke down every little task that needs to happen. And it's a lot. Mapping out who is this course for? How much is it? What do they get? What's included? What is the pain point that current person is struggling with to where this course could be a solution for them? This group offer could be a solution for them. Deciding all of that. That was like a whole design chunk time, was just making those decisions, mapping out and answering those questions. And those questions are important because that's what you build a landing page from, because that's what you build a social media content strategy from. And get this, that's what you build podcast episodes around. So doing the deep work, having that uninterrupted design time where I could be creative and make decisions and document, like, here's exactly A to Z what we want this offer to look like. Here's all the steps that need to happen. Here's all the automations that need to exist. That prep work made the rest of it so much more efficient. And had I not known that was step number one, I could totally see myself being like, okay, I guess I'll record today. And oh crap, I need to make a Canvas slide tomorrow. And oh shoot, I really need to work on that template over in Google. It would have been chaotic. So step one was mapping it out. Step two was making the templates. This course is tied to a lot of templates in Google just because I want to help people Take action. They're designed to be cloned so that way you can modify them and customize them to your liking. And I talk through thoroughly in these videos on how to do that. But there's over 20 templates. So I mapped out like the framework of the course in one chunk of design time. I mapped out the templates, and I think that took 2, 3, maybe full days of like designing it, refining it, then making it pretty and branded, then the functionality, like testing it out over and over and over again until I felt really great about all of them. And then from there, I made a Google Doc with the slide layout. Like, okay, this template needs a video that goes with it. Before I record the video, I need a presentation. Before I go design that presentation, hop into Canva and just stare at the screen, I need to know what I'm putting in there. So just having a Google layout of like slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, et cetera, et cetera. So then a whole nother design time was filled with just laying out the presentations for this offer. Then once that felt good, a different design time was all about taking that and transferring it to Canva. So they were all teed up and ready to go. And then from there, it was, okay, getting all cutesy and recording a bunch of videos for it, back to back to back. So then I'm just in video mode. I'm just able to wear that one thing, just like I do with the podcast. You guys know. And now you can see this design time that was already predetermined on my schedule, honored, because I was in the habit of protecting it-ish. Now it had structure. And that time would have never just filled in the nooks and crannies. It took a full day to record 20 short videos, 20. And that's not even the entire course. That's like half of it. So imagine probably 2, maybe even 3 full days of just recording. It's a lot of work. A lot of time went into this course creation, and that would not have happened in the 30 minutes between a client call and the first hour before I get my first email. And that's why this white space hack is like the missing link in your business, because if you're wanting to create new stuff, if you're wanting to improve your current stuff, this is how you make the time to do it, and this is the process to do it too. So I share all of it because I think that part 1 last week was all about like you understanding why it was so important, and that I think it's the missing link, especially for leaders, but solo people, I'm talking to you too. But part 2 today is all about like, I have a real world example of how I was able to take an idea and then spin it into action. And I'm known as the Get Shit Done girl, and this is the truth. I have to have a process in how I get shit done. Otherwise I would be spinning my wheels and going crazy. So all that to say is you obviously are here to get shit done, and you probably have some projects or ideas that you keep saying eventually we'll get to it. Someday we'll get to it when we have time, when it slows down, when I'm able to prioritize it. I want to invite you, instead of putting the pressure of build a course, and never doing it, putting that time on your calendar, breaking it into bite-sized pieces, and then delegating into those chunks of design time, and recognizing there are parts of your business where you just need to like go in a hidey hole and focus and be creative and flow and vibe. Like that is part of being a business owner. No one can do that for you but you. So if you don't have the environment, both in your time and like the physical environment to do that, it's never going to happen. And I think that this is just that reminder for you. Like you need to make this happen. And the process is simple. You put it on the calendar, you stick to it, and then you have a game plan. Here's what's cool. Because we plan for the year, we check in quarterly and make sure that plan still aligns, and we audit quarterly. I am laser focused. We just finished the course, which is awesome. And we actually finished all the deliverables ahead of time from what I expected from myself, which is great. I already know what our next project is. So I just log into my quarter plan, and then from there I can start grabbing to-dos from that big project and plugging them into my design time for the month. So there's no guesswork. I want that for you too. And when it comes to that bigger part of your business, this is like the part that no one talks about and no one has a framework for. This is the part that is going to take you from that first 100K to 110, 115 to doubling. And this is the missing link. So now you have the solution. I encourage you to go out there and really prioritize this white space and use it strategically in your business. Now, again, if you're a younger business owner, this doesn't mean you get the luxury of doing this every day, every other day. You should not be doing deep work if you are not able to pay your bills. You should be prioritizing revenue generating activities. But if you have consistent revenue, if you're at a place where you're stagnant, but you have big goals and dreams, and there's certain things that just never seem to get done, this might be why. And this might be your solution. So that's what I have for you this week. I encourage you to go take action on it. If you want some additional accountability, check out Get Shit Done Club. We meet weekly via Zoom. There's also accountability posts in there. It's a great community and we'd love to invite you in. It's totally free. No requirement to be there or anything. I just want to extend the invitation as you're tackling some of this new stuff in your business. I hope you have a good rest of your week and we'll catch you next week. Hey, thanks for being a part of the Get Shit Done Rebelution. My hope is this episode sparked a fire in you, equipped you with some practical next steps, or inspired you to take action towards your goals. If it did, please help spread the word by sharing this episode or leaving a review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're tuning in. Now it's time for me to hand over the keys and let you get shit done.